Hey guys, I'm Danny,
And I'm EJ, and this is the Your Living Proof podcast.
where we talk about addiction and how it affects the family, from the brutal to the beautiful and everything in between. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Your Living Proof podcast. This is episode 81, and I'm back.
I let him come back, you guys. Although
Actually,
Pamela and I had a lot of fun.
I just about said something inappropriate. No, actually, no. Like, maybe it's way better having a blonde and a brunette, beautiful women doing this than my ugly mug. Although I'm looking in the camera and my 46-year-old face is looking pretty good.
The confidence that this man has. Like, you guys. Also, just the inequity of aging between men and women. That could be a whole podcast. It needs to be said. You are allowed to age and you keep getting better and better. But women, we have to be embalmed at age 35.
Oh my gosh. I can get scars on my face, gray hairs start coming in on my chins, get wrinkles, and my skin turns a little more leathery. Is that a word?
Yep.
And you just become a little bit more handsome.
Yep. That's
We've
just
had
the tip of the iceberg on how unequal things are in this world for women and men.
We've had a lot of these talks lately, and it's okay. Sometimes I have to absorb the frustrations that my wife has,
As
and
you
it's
should.
okay.
Yeah.
As I should, because
You just get to live your la-la
it's okay. Hey, we're in the safe place now. You know, we're in the podcast booth where the walls are padded and everything's okay. Walking into the podcast, we did get into a little bit of an argument. So if those of you who are out there.
You guys, he's hungry. So anything could rattle him. It's just the way it is.
We get in arguments over the dumbest things. And so if you're married and you feel me on that, let me know. But it is tough, but we love each other. And so somehow we keep on keeping on.
He's not dead yet, guys. He's still here.
Hey, last week, thank you. Thank you to Pamela. I hope if you hadn't had an opportunity to hear last week's episode.
Oh, it was so awesome. She was so amazing to just like be so open about her experience, her journey. Gosh, it was just it's still going on. Like she's still in the process of it, but I sure hope that you listened. If you didn't, go back and listen to it because it was amazing.
Please. And we hope to have more, people in the program on in the future just to give you their personal insight. And we're not coaching them or saying or instructing them on what to say. Like there's a handful of questions we just thought would be good to guide the conversation, but they're just sharing real honest insight. So it's really cool. But thank you for coming. And thank you everyone for listening. The podcast is growing. We know it will never be as big as some of the ones out there.
I don't know. Maybe
who knows? Maybe one day. But the people that are listening, we hope that it provides you with value. Also, if you're listening in and there's a topic that you're waiting for us to talk on,
yeah, let us know.
Please reach out to us on social media, email, go to our website, and we would love to know if there's any topics that are important to you guys that we could cover for you. The topic for today is a great one. And it is a fear that every single person has. Every person that loves someone in addiction. The fear of what if they don't? What if they refuse help?
Yeah, and it's actually one that like I feel like anytime we make a post, it's like that's someone's comment. Yeah, well, what if they refuse to get help?
Yeah, what if they don't accept help? What if they never accept help?
It's a really and it happens across the board. Like, I mean, with a child, a spouse, a parent, you wouldn't believe how many people, adult children, are trying to help their own parents. And that is a really crazy scenario.
So I want to address that today. Let's get into it and let's give you some insight to answer that. Because what is associated with that? What if they never get help? It's accompanied with doubt and fear, which are terrible because not only does it affect you, it holds you and the rest of your family hostage from ever getting them help. And it also starts to like deteriorate the core of your family. So let's get into it today. It is also one of those subjects that no one wants to talk about, but I'm honored to do that. And we're going to give you some truth today. So surrounding the topic of what if they never get help? What if they never choose help? What if they never accept help? let's talk about the facts. Let's talk about the truth. And I would love to provide you with some unbiased information and then maybe share an insight of people who are currently in the trenches that I'm working with.
Yeah.
And how that pertained to them. So let's go through facts. Yesterday, in some of our Living Proof support groups that we had, we went through these facts, and I thought it was really, really insightful to this specific topic. So these statistics come from the HHS, which is the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. I love the acronyms. There's acronyms for everything. But these are statistics from 2021. Now, anything in the behavioral health industry, medical industry, the statistics are always at least 2, if not 3 years old. Why in today's world with the technology we have does it take so long to acquire the data? I don't know, but it is. So these are from 2021, post-COVID, but barely, right? So I do mention that because there was a tidal wave added to this industry from COVID, but this is just the beginning. So 46.3 million people ages 12 or older, so we're talking about nearly 20% of the population, meet the applicable criteria for having a substance use disorder in the past year. It's a lot of people.
That's a lot. 20% of the population. That's a heavy number.
And here is, I've shared this before in many podcasts ago, but I have a problem with this because this number is, these are the known individuals. What does that mean? These are people that have either admitted it on a form, they've sought medical attention,
right?
They've been detained somehow medically or criminally.
Yeah.
It's been documented. So we're talking about the people that are known of or who have willingly admitted it is 20%. But where do the majority of addictions lie? In secrecy. In secret. No one knows until things get really bad. But they're not documented. So this number is much more than what we're even reading, but it's already scary enough. About half of them were alcohol-related, half were substance-related. In 2021, so let's talk about those 46 plus million people, 94% of the people 12 and older with a substance use disorder did not receive any treatment. Nearly all people with a substance use disorder who did not get treatment at a specialty facility felt that they didn't need it.
Wow.
That means 6% accepted help and 94% refused it.
That's wild.
It's pretty terrible statistics.
That's
and again, these are just of the known cases. So we're talking about a much larger number to begin with. But when you say, what if they never accept help? What if they never get help? That's what 94% of the current population is facing.
Oh, gosh. That is. And you know what? Honestly, when I read things like that, I get more and more grateful for the work that we do. Because let's just talk about any positives that we can take from this. And that is like, okay, but there are some people that are getting help and do recover, right?
Amen.
That is a thing, okay?
People do and are recovering.
Yes. So where we specialize or where we can really be helpful or make an impact and hope to drastically change that number is those people, like, who does have the greatest chance at recovery? Who are those 6%ers? And if you're listening right now, it's you. It's your loved one. It's your loved one that has the greatest chance. It's anyone that finds themselves completely ragdolled by an addiction that still has a family or someone close to them that has the means, the desire, and the willingness to learn how to help them. Those are the people that can recover. Those people like you who are listening right now going, yeah, what if they refuse help? Like, I love someone that's struggling with addiction. I want to help. It's you who says, you know what? I'm I'm going to stop waiting for something even worse to happen. And I'm going to take some action on my own right now. And I'm going to learn. Those are the people with the best chance, maybe the only chance.
I'd go as far to say the only chance. Doesn't mean it isn't possible, but it's just about impossible for people who don't have a family. And again, the step further to reiterate what she just said is it's not only people who have a family like you or someone amazing like you that's still there to help, but it's the people who actually get help to help a loved one. They seek professional support. They get the tools. They get the resources. They get the support they need. So when we're talking about these dismal numbers, the people that we just described, your loved ones with people like you who get help, those people have a very, very good chance.
Yes.
At recovery.
That's what's so incredible. And that's what gives me like even more energy to continue doing what we're doing is because, man, it's so rewarding once you find like the person that's like, yeah, sign me up. I am ready to dig my heels in and figure this out and help my loved one and get healthy in the process. It is so amazing. Like Pamela last week, listening to the actual transformation that happens on both sides, right? Like you only expect it to affect the one person that goes into treatment, but you could see and hear from her experience how transformative it was for her life.
Yeah. Yes, thank you. And you look really good today. If you guys are listening in, I was just staring at my wife and I lost track of what I was.
You guys,
it's
thinking. Summer, so I don't get dressed or do my hair anymore at all.
Yes, she does.
No,
today
I don't,
she did.
But today I did because I was going to be on a camera. But that's it.
Podcast
Not
day.
for the rest of the week.
I'm getting lucky today.
All I do is like clean up the kitchen all day long for all the neighborhood kids.
Okay, back on track. So let's just break this down a tiny bit more. Of the 6% who accept help, I will remind you a fact is not one of them willingly just packed their bag, found resources on their own, and willingly showed up with a great attitude to get healthy. Someone or something had to intervene even for those 6%. It was an employer, it was a spouse, it was a parent, it was a judge. Someone or something had to intervene. And many people struggling with an addiction, they don't have. I want to have some clarity and give you truth as to why those numbers are so terrible. A lot of the people dealing with these fatal illness of addiction do not have a good, stable home.
Right.
And that is the sad part. When I got into this line of work, I had to be very niche and very specific. How can I make an impact? Like, what can I actually do to help? There's so many issues, right? There's the corrections department side, this revolving door and through jails and prisons. There's the homeless side of this, which is a massive problem. There's all sorts of different parts of the spectrum of that what addiction does to a community. But I said, no, I'm going to go find those people. I'm going to go find those good people, parents and spouses who've been doing the right things in life, trying, who want to help, who have the means to help, who'd like to help, but just can't figure it out. So that's who we're talking about. But there are a lot of people who do not have that, and I'm sorry to say they drive the statistics up. Can you imagine your loved one's situation if they didn't have you, if they came home to an environment with an alcoholic partner or parent and no means to help in any regard? That is such a tragic part.
Oh, it is.
A part of this that I wish I had a solution to, but it makes me grateful to believe in the God above, because there will be some solutions at some point. So those who do have an incredible family, the families often have a hard time at this because they've been trying to do it on their own. So those are just some of the facts. The greatest lie about it. You've heard me say this more and more. So this is the last on the facts. The greatest lie about addiction is that they have to want it for themselves. I hope that eventually more and more people come to the realization that something or someone's going to have to intervene to get the process started. Now, do they have to want it for themselves to truly recover? Of course they do. At some point, it's going to have to spark this desire for them to change. They're going to have the willingness and the belief that they can. But that will never get the process started. That's going to be during the process of recovery. Someone has to get it started. So let's move on.
Well, hold on. Before you do, I just want to say, too, that let's even just play pretend for a second and say they are willing. Like they come to you and they're like, hey, I want to do
that. That's in our next section.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, it's great. So it's a great segue.
Okay.
Keep going.
Okay. Well, so let's just say that they are like, let's do this. I'm ready. Take me. How often do you think that they stay in that frame of mind? How long do you think it takes before they get really discouraged and they still have no coping skills and they check themselves out and they bail?
So we all do that. Normal humans do that.
I
But
mean,
people who are really sick, always.
right. Like, I'm like, how long does it take for you to like get unmotivated on your new like diet or workout plan? Like it's inevitable.
So I just wanted to give you some unbiased information, and this isn't a philosophy of mine. This has just been doing this for all these years and working with all these people. I'm not driving this to a facility that we have for a specific reason. This is just unbiased, honest information that if they are one in the million
Billion.
who accept, and they're never going to be willing, but who even accept, they're like, okay, I'll go. If you don't understand how to keep them there, how to support them, how to continue them moving forward, they have zero chance. But I also want to get back to a few things. Hopefully you've heard me share some of these before. If not, they're important. That what you know is the tip of the iceberg. It has never been proven wrong in all the years I've been involved in this in any capacity, that what you know is just a fraction of what's going on. And let me break that down. You're already worried, right? Like you're seeking help and looking for resources because things aren't good. You're either fearful for their life or you can see the path of destruction. And that fear or that concern that you have is based upon just a fraction of what's going on. So why is this important? For me to help convince you, because of the filter that your heart and love does, to know that it's worse, because it is worse all the time. You just know the crumbs they dropped or where they got sloppy and messed up. So once you understand that your fear is based upon this much and that the reality is it's way worse than you know, then hopefully you overstep that hurdle of fear or doubt and you have the courage to start moving forward.
Oh gosh, that's such a huge point.
The other unbiased thing is there never will be a magical day when they just wake up and want it for themselves. But like EJ just said, well, what if you bring it up and they do accept it? What if they're one in the billion, right?
Mm-hmm.
Someone has to still know how to help them,
Yeah.
to hold them accountable.
Because what do you do when they're like, nope, I'm done. You know what? I did 2 weeks and I actually feel a lot better, and so I'm done.
Most programs are broken into segments, and someone's going to have to keep them in there. Often it's a judge. If you have endless resources and money to send them somewhere where there's a year or 2 year program, great. You don't need to know all those steps because the facility will, but that's not a majority of people. You're going to have to understand the process to keep them there. All addictions are progressive. They progress at different paces. They progress in different ways. But whether it's a pornography addiction, a gambling addiction, illicit drug addiction, it always progresses and gets worse. Even though you can't probably imagine how it could possibly get worse, it does.
Oh, another huge point there.
And everyone eventually ends up. Let me just say before I give you where they end up, no one thinks it's going to happen to them, but everyone always ends up in one of three places. Jails, institutions, or dead. There are a few lucky individuals, however, who get to enter recovery because someone special like you came along. Got yourself equipped.
You said gambling addiction, and it just sparked that. I think that one is like really interesting when you think of the tip of the iceberg, because I just know so many people that are like, well, they have a really, they do have a problem with gambling, but it's just gambling. So
that word.
Yeah.
If you ever use the word just right before you describe their behavior or their addiction or their dependency, whatever you want to call it, if the word just is used, you have a big problem.
But it's interesting because we asked a question on our Instagram story. It was like, what is the scariest addiction what do you think the scariest addiction in the world is? And one person was like, gambling. I lost my brother.
That they got murdered
he got
over
murdered.
a gambling debt.
Over a gambling debt. And I was just like,
to them, that's the worst one.
For sure. And that's how but what I'm trying to point out is that's how real that concept is, people are like, all right, they have a gambling addiction, but that's way better than having a meth addiction. Is it?
Well, when you go all the way back to the beginning when we said the topic, which is what if they refuse help? A part that you play in that is using the word just.
Yeah.
Because that will just keep them stuck. If you're going to say they're just addicted to this or they just have a problem with this, then you're just going to stay stuck.
Yeah. Amen. The greatest threat in the world to addiction is a family that learns how to effectively intervene and how to support a full program of recovery. A family who learns how to set and hold boundaries. The how is the most critical thing. It's one thing to know I need to have a boundary. People can say that all day long. But if you don't know how to actually hold a boundary in your darkest hour, when you are facing your deepest fears, you will continue to stay exactly where you are today, except the only problem with it is the person that you love will continue to spiral down.
It's true. And I mentioned something here. The last thing I want to share is I want to give you just some honest insights, transparency into like our program and the people I've worked with that I've been in the trenches with. Right as we were pulling up, the reason we kind of got in an argument is I was having some difficult conversations on the way over here after a group with two different families whose loved one is facing such unthinkable things. Like criminal and violent related and medical related, that it just, it's hard. It's almost hard for any human to hear. That's why a lot of them, they can't even talk to people in their own life about it.
No.
They're like their sister, their best friend, their mother, they just can't. So those are the people I'm talking about in the trenches with them. Why? Because I love it. I feel honored to be there. I just want to give more people a chance like that I got. So here's a little bit of an insight I hope helps. Of all the people I've had the opportunity, the honor to work with, once they do this, right? Like once they like, okay, I'm committing to something, I'm putting on my armor, I'm getting support, I'm getting a trainer. Half of those families have results immediately. Okay. What do I mean by results for clarification? Well, most of them are successful at getting their loved one into some sort of behavioral health rehabilitation program pretty quickly. Something they haven't been able to do for many years. It is the truth. Now, there's other people, and maybe they didn't get their loved one into treatment, but when I say they've changed the outcome pretty immediately, they've improved things in their home. They've set certain boundaries and measures in place. They've started to get themselves healthy. So about half the families get results real quick. Then the other half, beautiful things transpire even if their loved one's refusing it.
Yeah, even if they, like we said, the topic is, what if they don't accept help? So even if they're in that space of, nope, not doing it,
so
things still change.
And if you got to speak with any of them, and I wish you could someday if you were ever curious, they're still waiting for a loved one to accept something that they've prepared and presented. So there's still that hole in their heart of like, man, I wonder when they're going to ever accept this. I wonder if they ever do. But the family starts to heal because they've done a process and the necessary things to allow them to like elevate out of that special kind of hell. There's a woman I love in our program who described it like that they're living in a very special kind of hell. But once they do this, they start to improve. I love it because some people that's been in the program for a while were sharing some pictures on the group thread of them on vacation, which hadn't happened forever because their loved one's addiction had held them hostage. Others going out like on a Friday night date. People finally starting to break free from the wrath of addiction that caused on them.
Yeah, from their own undoing.
So what I'm trying to point out here is I'm not saying like, oh my gosh, everyone that joined just had this magical miracle occurred. Half the people have started the process. Now, there's still a long road ahead. There's still a lot of obstacles in the way, but they've got things started. The other half have done everything necessary to give their loved one a chance. And now, meanwhile, they're starting to improve the environment in their home, within their marriage, their own health and well-being. To me,
that's progress.
One of them is a win-win. The other one might feel like a lose-win, but doing nothing leaves you
lose.
Lose. So
Absolutely. Well, I want to, while we're on that topic, I just want to read a testimonial that someone gave us, and I'm going to have to read it, unfortunately, so you'll have to hear my voice saying it. But
I love to hear your voice.
she left this, and it actually really illustrates what Danny is talking about. She would have fallen in this second category that we're talking about, where the person that she loves, they're not getting the immediate result that they want, right?
No, and also, let me just share, like, everybody's story is a little bit different.
Yeah.
But the end result's the same. So if you're like, well, that's not us, you're in the same situation.
Yeah. Yeah. So here it is. After my husband left, I spent the next few years trying to hold the world together for me and my 2 boys. It was exhausting, to say the least. It took everything I had to keep our home and provide the things we needed in life. As both of my boys struggled, I tried everything I could think of. I was living in a constant reactionary state. I felt like I couldn't do anything right. Often, I would just turn my head and hoped things would change. When things got bad enough with I would not deny.
You could say the name.
With Jake. I would not deny it anymore, but still didn't know what to do. I lost my son shortly after I went through the living proof process. As much as my heart aches every day missing him, I cannot put into words how grateful I am to know that I fought his addiction with my eyes wide open. I got myself educated and informed. I stepped back and made a legitimate plan to get him the help he needed. He would not and did not accept help. However, not one day goes by when I don't feel grateful that I had done everything possible to find and offer help to him. He knows how badly I wanted to help. He knew that I was prepared with a legitimate plan. I was ready and thoroughly prepared to help him and support him. I was waiting for him to accept the gift I had prepared for him. Sorry, I cry when I read that because...
Yeah, you can feel it.
Because I can feel how desperate this woman was, and she's an amazing person.
Yeah, and then she's
able to have peace. That's the crazy thing about it is... Did she get what she wanted? No, absolutely not. But can you even imagine the difference of her going on with her life thinking, what if I could have done something different? What if I did this? What if I did that? No, she doesn't have any of those thoughts or feelings or hauntings or regrets. She knows. And she knows that her son knew. She doesn't spend a minute being sad about what she could have done or what would have happened if she would have done this. No, she just misses her son. And that is so different.
It's so different. And in groups this week, one of the mothers described it as just not being scared of their addiction anymore. And so she was able to communicate that to him clearly. And it's still difficult. These situations are extremely hard. And so to wrap things up, and thank you for reading that. To wrap things up, what if they don't choose help? Everyone has that thought. So if that is yours and that is a fear and a serious concern of yours, it's normal. And the truth that no one's saying is there is a very high probability of that. And there's 100% probability if someone or something doesn't intervene. It's backwards. It's not fair. It doesn't make any sense. And dads fight me all the time on this. Well, they know better. They're going to have to knock it off. It won't happen. So the truth is that there is a high probability. And the truth is that a lot of people die from this. A lot of people end up on the streets. You can see it in any city you go to. So let's give more people a fighting chance.
Well, and they might refuse help. Maybe you already offered help and they already refused it. You don't have to refuse help. You don't. You can get help.
And the impact that it'll have on your family is tremendous.
So tremendous. So can I read the Serenity Prayer for families?
Let's do it.
Because it leads right into it. So what if they don't accept help? Here's your prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept that I cannot change other people, the courage to change the person that I can, and the wisdom to know that it is me.
Thanks for joining in again with us, you guys. Please share this with anybody if you found it helpful to you, and we appreciate your ongoing support. Thanks.